But if they do put us in a dangerous position, they'll be shut down.
War drums beat in the Caribbean, US warships and fighter jets close in on Venezuela. Trump weighs strikes on Maduro's cartels, strikes that could cross into Venezuelan soil itself. Maduro responds with defiance, mobilises millions for battle, warns of another Iraq, as Washington labels him a narco-terrorist and Caracas vows resistance. The question looms: is Venezuela on the brink of America's next war? According to CNN reports, citing sources briefed on the administration's plans, President Donald Trump is actively weighing a slate of military strike options against powerful drug cartels entrenched in Venezuela. This marks a sharp and dangerous escalation, one that could see US forces targeting sites deep inside Venezuelan territory as part of a sweeping strategy to undermine Nicolas Maduro's grip on power. Tuesday's deadly strike on an alleged drug boat departing Venezuela was a direct reflection of those military options under consideration, sources tell CNN. The strike killed 11 people and marked what multiple sources describe as just the beginning of a much larger effort to rid the region of narcotics trafficking and potentially dislodge Maduro from power. Earlier this year, Trump authorized the military to carry out lethal operations against cartels his administration designated as terrorist groups, according to a source familiar with the matter.
If there is an opportunity to kill terrorists, he will immediately give them the green light to do so.
The military build-up around Venezuela has been substantial and deliberate. Ships armed with Tomahawk missiles, an attack submarine, and more than 4,000 US sailors and Marines are now positioned near Venezuelan waters. Two White House officials confirmed to CNN that 10 advanced F-35 fighter jets are also being sent to Puerto Rico, where a Marine unit is currently conducting amphibious landing training exercises. White House officials describe this deployment as a signal to Maduro, demonstrating American military capability in the region. The administration has taken deliberate steps to connect Maduro to its broader anti-drug mission, labeling him as a narco-terrorist with ties to recently designated cartels and doubling the bounty for his arrest to $50 million.
The preferred course of action is for Maduro to leave on his own, to read the tea leaves. And then I think the message is, do you want it to be easy or do you want it to be hard?
Two White House officials speaking to CNN also left open the possibility of similar strikes in the future, while the Trump administration remains intentionally vague about its ultimate intentions. As one official cautioned, there is currently no indication that Trump has decided to move forward with military strikes against targets inside Venezuela itself, though the option remains under active consideration. When questioned about this, Secretary of State Marco Rubio was direct.
Will you act on Venezuelan soil against the Maduro regime?
Well, this is a counter-drug operation. We're going to take on drug cartels wherever they are and wherever they're operating against the interests of the United States. The president's top obligation is to secure the national interest and the national security of our people.
The stakes became dangerously real when Venezuelan F-16 fighter jets began what Defense Department officials described to CBS News as a game of chicken with American naval forces. For the second time in 2 days, Venezuelan military aircraft flew over the USS Jason Dunham in international waters near South America. Multiple Defense Department officials confirmed the aircraft came within weapons range of both the jets and the ship, though the Dunham did not engage. The provocative flyovers represent exactly the kind of escalation that could trigger the military response Trump has authorized. Trump's response was unequivocal when reporters asked what would happen if Venezuela repeated such provocative actions.
Well, I would say they're going to be in trouble. We'll let them know about that. But if they do put us in a dangerous position, they'll be shut down.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro struck back Friday, calling on the United States to abandon what he described as plans for violent regime change in his country and across Latin America. Despite the escalating tensions, Maduro attempted to maintain a diplomatic tone toward Trump personally.
The government of the United States should abandon its plan of violent regime change in Venezuela and in all of Latin America and the Caribbean, and respect sovereignty, the right to peace, to independence.
In a surprising conciliatory gesture, Maduro added that both leaders have their differences, but that doesn't justify military conflict.
I respect him. We have had differences, but none of the differences we have had and continue to have could lead to a high-impact military conflict or violence in South America and our America. There is no justification for it.
Maduro directly challenged the American narrative about Venezuela's role in drug trafficking, drawing parallels to the Iraq War.
It is not true, I say to the people of the United States. It was not true that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. What they are saying about Venezuela is not true. It is not true. It is a dead end they are getting themselves into. Venezuela has always been willing to talk, but just as we are willing to talk, we demand respect for our country, for our people.
When reporters pressed Trump about whether he sought regime change in Venezuela, the president's response was carefully measured.
Well, we're not talking about that, but we are talking about the fact that you had an election which was a very strange election, to put it mildly. I'm being very nice when I say that. I can only say that billions of dollars of drugs are pouring into our country from Venezuela. The prisons of Venezuela have been opened up to our country. They've taken their prisoners, the worst prisoners, murderers, Tren de Aragua. The worst prisoners that you can ever imagine are now happily living in the United States of America. Now, many of them we've gotten out.
As military tensions escalate, Maduro has announced an extraordinary mobilization effort, calling on over 8 million Venezuelans to prepare for potential conflict with the United States. The sweeping call to arms, made on state television, represents one of the largest civilian defense mobilizations in Latin American history. According to Venezuelan state media, the country will deploy 15,751 popular defense bases and 5,336 communal militia units across the nation. These forces operate under the National Bolivarian Militia, a civilian reserve system created by the late Hugo Chavez to integrate ordinary citizens into the country's defense structure. Maduro declared that roughly 4.5 million citizens have already undergone training, with new digital platform enlistments expected to push the total beyond 8 million. The Venezuelan leader framed the mobilization as defending not just his country, but the entire region. He argued that Venezuela is standing against broader American ambitions in Latin America and the Caribbean. As Maduro mobilizes millions and Trump escalates military operations, the Caribbean appears to be entering a dangerous new phase. With both leaders doubling down on their positions, the region could emerge as the next arena of open confrontation between the United States and a Latin American government, with implications that extend far beyond Venezuela's borders.